Fight fans, this is Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Rob Jarrell, and this is my preview to this weekend's HBO light heavyweight tilt featuring Sergey Kovalev versus Eleider Alvarez. And on the undercard, we have Dmitry bivol taking on Isaac Chilemba. This would actually be a pretty decent matchup, especially in the light heavyweight division, which is pretty much looking for a king of the division now. The belts are pretty much a little bit of everywhere. Bivol has the WBA title, and Sergey Kovalev has the IBF and the WBO title, or that's what's up to win. So it should be pretty interesting. We're going to start off with a preview with Dmitry bivol versus Isaac Chilemba. Dmitry bivol is someone who they've been moving along pretty quickly, as he's had the extensive amateur background coming out of Kyrgyzstan. And he's had some quality wins. His last win was against Sullivan Barrera back in March, in which he got the knockout late in the fight. And when I first saw him, I thought he was a pretty raw fighter. He had a lot of room for improvement, but the good thing about him is that he is constantly getting better. He looks better in every fight, and he's stepping up to the competition. Sullivan Barrera was his best win of his career. I mean, he had some quality wins with Cedric Agnew and Felix Valera earlier, but we hadn't seen him take a step up in competition until he fought Sullivan Barrera, who doesn't fight as often as he probably should, but again was quality and only lost one fight to Andre Ward. And the one thing I like about bivol is the fact that he utilizes jab in several different ways. He likes to throw that power jab, and a lot of guys from Ukraine, Russia, they have a very straight jab, and it goes down the pipe, and it's hard to measure. And he was able to hit Barrera with that jab plenty of times. And then, right afterward, he shot the right hand. The thing I like about bivol is not only does he vary up the speeds of his jab, but once he throws the 1-2s, he's immediately throwing the left hook right afterwards. So you really can't just say, hey, he's just going to throw the 1-2, because he's going to constantly follow up. He knows how to put his punches together, and he's a pretty hard-hitting fighter. He has 13 wins with 11 knockouts, and that Barrera one, he pretty much totally took him out of the fight. By the second half of the fight, Barrera was not shooting his punches, he was pushing them. And that's definitely not what you want to do. And he pretty much reduced them to maybe 1 or 2 shots at best. But while Barrera was his most quality win so far, he's got to fight Isaac Chilemba, and this would be his most difficult opponent just because of the style that Chilemba has. Chilemba being out of South Africa, he's very wily. He's a guy with 25 wins, 5 KOs. 25 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, but only 10 KOs. So he doesn't have a whole lot of power. But he's been in there with other hard hitters like Sergey Kovalev, who he made look bad. I think bivol will be in much better condition than Sergey Kovalev was. But he's pretty much fought a who's who of the light heavyweight division. He lost to Alexander Gvozdyk out of the Ukraine. He's lost to Sergey Kovalev, and he's lost to Eleider Alvarez. And with Eleider Alvarez, it was a majority. I think it was a majority decision. So, and he's also fought Tony Bellew, Denis Krashev. He's fought, like I said, a who's who of whoever you want to put him in there against. So he's going to be very difficult for bivol. Bivol, while he has that power jab, he's well conditioned. He's going to throw a volley of punches. He's got to vary up his speed and start setting Isaac Chilemba up. He's been able to get away with that destructive style so far, but so heck Sergey Kovalev. And Isaac Chilemba is a dude who's not only tough, but he can make you miss, especially if you're a power puncher. So look for Isaac Chilemba to, I'm not going to say make him look bad, but really make him work for the win. Because I can see this going 12 rounds. I can see Bivol getting to Chilemba because Chilemba has had quite a few fights and maybe a bit shot worn. I can see him getting to Chilemba, but I can also see Chilemba extending him over 12 rounds and taking advantages of Bivol over punching or maybe trying to over aggressively go for the knockout. Sorry, the lighting was looking bad. So, and that moves on to the main event. We have Sergey Kovalev fighting Eleider Alvarez, and that's going to be for the WBO and the IBF light heavyweight titles. Sergey Kovalev is who we all know him to be. He's the crusher. He's going to come out. He's going to work off his jab, and he's going to throw some of the hardest shots that you will see in boxing from that shoot standpoint. He is athletic. He is smart, and he is very physically strong. We know he's taken out other hard hitters like Vyacheslav Shabransky and John Pascal. And ever since his 2 losses to Andre Ward, and it's no embarrassment to losing Andre Ward, he's been destructive, and he has so far a Hall of Fame resume. I think this is his chance to get on top of the light heavyweight division again against a guy, Eleider Alvarez, who has had great competition. He beat John Pascal over 12 rounds. He beat Lucian Butte by KO. He's beat Isaac Chilemba, but he doesn't have like a lot of names. And he's been the mandatory for and I can't think of his name. And now I feel horrible. He's been the mandatory for Adonis Stevenson. Oh my God. I'm sorry about that. I had a brain fart. He's been the mandatory for Adonis Stevenson's WBC light heavyweight title, but he has never capitalized on it. He has taken step aside money, I want to say up to 3 to 4 times. So I'm not sure if he really wanted to fight him or the money was so lucrative from PBC that he just took the step aside money. It's like, I'll take the next best thing. But as good as he is, he doesn't have a lot of knockouts. And while I think he does have a good jab and he likes to fight from distance, that's going to be difficult versus a guy like Kovalev. Granted, it could look a lot like the Chilemba fight where he makes Kovalev miss quite a bit, but not with this Kovalev. He seems to be rededicated to his craft. And he even said himself, the more knockouts he got, the more wins he got, he was starting to let fame get to him. And I think he'll be much more focused. He likes to keep fighters on the end of his punches, and in his fight versus Vyacheslav Shabransky, he did something that I hadn't seen him do, but he made a concerted effort to go to the body, to jab to the body, and to throw the 1-2 to the body. And that's going to take a lot of steam off of Eleider Alvarez, who likes to move laterally. The only thing about him, he likes to counterpunch with fighters coming in. Kovalev's going to be the aggressor. He's going to shoot that jab. If Eleider Alvarez can make him miss, he's going to be able to take advantage. But I don't want to see Eleider Alvarez bend his body to the right, because if he bends too low, and Andre Ward made this mistake twice, that he threw the jab, and instead of countering to the left, he countered to the right. Kovalev has that overhand right, which he shoots perfectly downward, and it's going to hit him behind the ear. I could see him buzzing or even knocking out Eleider Alvarez if Eleider Alvarez is not careful and utilize his movement. Also, that jab from Kovalev, because of the angle that he throws it and he shoots it straight down the middle, he's going to be able to invade the space of Eleider Alvarez quickly. But what I've noticed, and I'm wondering if Eleider Alvarez can do this, Vyacheslav Shabransky was able to stop Kovalev's momentum with his jab. Granted, he's taller than Kovalev, and I think he had longer arms than Kovalev. But I think Alvarez's timing will be better. But being that he's shorter and most likely unwilling to engage with Kovalev, say, unlike a Andre Ward, unlike a John Pascal, then he's going to have to step into Crusher's wheelhouse. So he's going to have to bait Kovalev in and be able to counter constantly. He's going to have to make Kovalev overextend himself on his right hand. I'm not going to say on his jab, but on his right hand, and then come with a counter right of his own, or maybe even a counter left hook. That counter left hook was there for Andre Ward, but I'm not saying that Eleider Alvarez is Andre Ward coming out of Colombia. So it'll be interesting. Right now, I got Kovalev over 12 rounds because I think it's going to look like the Chilemba fight, but don't be surprised if there is a knockout by the 6th round. I think Kovalev is back to being who he was before the Ward fight. I think that power will still always be there. I think that nastiness will always be there, and I think that strength will always be there. I'm looking for Alvarez to stay tough and stay in there, because Kovalev has a way to make you just run and take you out of the fight, and that's about a 4th or 5th round. Alvarez has to have a lot of mental fortitude just to weather that storm and to keep thinking and making Kovalev miss his shots. That's all I got for you today. Hakeem's going to do the preview to Showtime's card feature Andre Berto against Devin Alexander, and he's also going to do the UFC card that's happening on Saturday with Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, comment in the section below, hit that like button, share with your friends, get them to subscribe. Hit us up, capitalcombat@gmail.com, Capital Combat Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And if you have any questions, we are definitely down to interact with you all. And until next time,
this is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost.